Would you believe that by the time we reach our golden years, we've surrounded ourselves with over 300,000 items in our homes? It's staggering but true. Each year of our adult lives, we bring in another 2,000 to 5,000 objects. No wonder nearly 8 out of 10 seniors feel completely overwhelmed when facing their clutter. But here's what those expensive professional organizers charging $150 an hour don't want you to know. They rely on just 4 psychological techniques to transform cluttered spaces. And they're keeping these methods under wraps to protect their bottom line. I'm James from Elders Wise Insight, and today, I'm breaking their code of silence. After spending 15 years helping seniors reclaim their homes and their peace of mind, I've worked alongside dozens of these professionals and noticed something fascinating. They all use the same 4 psychological approaches, but you'll never hear about them in their videos or social media. Let me tell you about Martha, a remarkable 72-year-old widow who transformed from "I can't let anything go" to reclaiming her beloved home in just 3 weekends using these methods. When I first met Martha, her dining table hadn't hosted a family meal in years. Her spare bedroom was completely inaccessible, and she navigated her home through narrow pathways that had become dangerous falling hazards. She'd already spent thousands on 3 different professional organizers with little to show for it. What Martha truly needed wasn't more storage bins or color-coding systems. She needed a complete mindset revolution. Stay with me, because secret number 3 changed everything for Martha, and it's the game changer the organization industry guards most fiercely. Before we dive deeper, I'd love to hear from you. What's the one area in your home that causes you the most anxiety whenever you look at it? Share in the comments, and I'll offer some personalized guidance. Secret number 1, the future self method. The first decluttering secret professionals keep to themselves is what I call the future self method. This approach is particularly powerful for those of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. Here's why. After decades of life, we've become masters at making decisions based on our past. We hold on to things because of what they meant to us yesterday, not what they'll contribute to our tomorrow. Professional organizers understand this psychology, but instead of addressing it directly, they focus on organizing what you already have, which conveniently means more storage solutions to purchase and more sessions to book. Martha's transformation began with one simple question: who do you want to be for the next 10 years of your life? This shifted her entire perspective. Instead of asking, "Should I keep this?" which keeps you anchored to the past, Martha began asking, "Does this belong in my future?" Here's how to bring this powerful shift into your own home. First, create a clear, written vision of how you want to live in your next chapter. Martha's vision included hosting intimate dinner gatherings, welcoming grandchildren for overnight stays, and finally pursuing her passion for watercolor painting that she'd put off for decades. Second, when evaluating your belongings, don't ask if they spark joy or if you might need them someday. Instead, ask, does this support the person I want to become? For Martha, this meant keeping quality cookware for those dinner parties while releasing the dozen serving platters collecting dust. It meant transforming her spare room into a combination guest room and art studio rather than a storage unit for her past. The reason professionals don't share this approach? It works too efficiently. Many of Martha's items didn't require organizing at all. They required removing because they simply had no place in her future. What vision do you have for your next chapter? How might your home better support that vision? Share one aspect in the comments. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. But the future self method is just the foundation. The second secret is where profound transformation begins to take root. Secret number 2, the legacy timeline technique. The second secret professional organizers won't reveal is what I call the legacy timeline technique. Here's an uncomfortable truth that often shocks the seniors I work with. 65% of adult children don't want their parents' possessions. You've likely been preserving treasured collections, family heirlooms, and sentimental items with the deep-seated belief that your children or grandchildren will cherish them someday. Professional organizers understand this reality, but rarely address it directly because it touches on difficult emotions. Instead, they suggest temporarily boxing things up for later decision-making, which often translates to more storage solutions and more paid sessions. Martha was heartbroken when I shared this statistic. She'd been faithfully keeping her mother's china, her children's school projects, and dozens of family photo albums, all assuming her daughters would treasure these items in the future. The legacy timeline technique changed everything. Instead of guessing what future generations might value, Martha did something revolutionary, yet so simple. She asked them directly. Here's how to implement this powerful strategy. First, create 3 categories for your sentimental possessions. Items to enjoy now, display or use them. Items to document digitally, photograph, then release. Items to pass down immediately. Don't wait until you're gone. Second, gather the courage to have legacy conversations with your family members. Martha invited her daughters over for lunch and asked which specific items held meaning for them. The results surprised her. One daughter had always loved a particular painting, but had never mentioned it. Neither wanted the formal china, but both treasured specific family photographs and recipes. By having these conversations, Martha could make intentional decisions rather than keeping everything just in case. For items no one wanted to physically keep, Martha created digital archives, scanning cherished letters, photographing childhood artwork, and creating digital photo collections that could be shared with the entire family. The freedom this gave Martha was profound. She realized she wasn't losing memories by releasing physical items. She was actually preserving the stories by documenting and sharing them. Have you had these legacy conversations with your family? Were you surprised by what they did or didn't want? Share your experience in the comments. Your insight might help someone who's struggling with similar challenges. Now let's move to the third secret. This is the one that professional organizers protect most fiercely. Secret number 3, the emotional anchoring system. The third decluttering secret, and this truly is the game changer, is what I call the emotional anchoring system. Professional organizers understand that clutter isn't really about stuff, it's about emotions. For us seniors especially, possessions become powerful anchors to precious memories, our sense of identity, and relationships we cherish. But instead of addressing these emotional connections directly, many professionals focus exclusively on the logistics of sorting and storing. This is precisely where Martha found herself stuck. When I asked why she couldn't let go of her husband's workshop tools 5 years after his passing, her answer revealed everything. If I let go of his things, I'm afraid I'll forget the details of our life together. This fear of losing memories, losing connection to loved ones, or losing parts of your identity is what keeps many of us trapped in clutter. The breakthrough comes from creating new emotional anchors that preserve what truly matters without keeping every physical item. Here's how the emotional anchoring system works. First, for each category of meaningful items, perhaps your late spouse's belongings, your children's keepsakes, or career mementos, identify the core emotion or story those items represent. Second, select 1 or 2 signature items that best capture that emotion or story. Martha kept her husband's favorite hammer and had it beautifully mounted in a shadow box alongside a photograph of him working happily in his workshop. Third, for everything else, create alternative memory anchors through ritual, documentation, or transformation. Martha invited family members to select items from her husband's workshop, sharing heartwarming stories about him as they chose tools. She artistically photographed arrangements of meaningful items before letting them go. Most movingly, she had a beautiful quilt made from her husband's favorite shirts, creating a new treasure that took up less space but preserved the memories in a tangible, comforting way. The key insight is that we don't need to keep everything to honor what matters emotionally. By intentionally creating these new anchors, Martha found she could actually connect with her precious memories more easily than when they were buried in overwhelming clutter. When Martha implemented this system, she was able to clear her husband's workshop while feeling more connected to him than she had in years. The space transformed into a cozy reading nook where she feels his presence every day, rather than a cluttered shrine she avoided because it was too painful to enter. Have you found creative ways to preserve memories while letting go of physical items? Or is there a category of belongings you're struggling to release? Share in the comments. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Now let's move to the fourth and final secret, the one that will help you maintain your progress for good. Secret number 4, the Threshold Mastery Protocol. The fourth decluttering secret professional organizers never reveal is what I call the Threshold Mastery Protocol. Here's why this final step is so crucial. Studies show that 78% of people who declutter end up recluttered within 18 months. Professional organizers know this. In fact, many count on it for repeat business. Instead of teaching true prevention, they focus on organizing systems that need regular maintenance and updating. For Martha, this pattern was all too familiar. She'd decluttered before, only to find herself surrounded by new accumulations within a year. What she needed wasn't more clever storage solutions. She needed to address the incoming flow. The Threshold Mastery Protocol is about becoming the thoughtful gatekeeper of your home and life. It's particularly powerful for seniors because it addresses the unique reasons we accumulate in our later years. Here's how to implement this life-changing approach. First, identify your specific accumulation triggers. Emotional purchasing, buying to fill other needs. Aspirational accumulation, items for a potential future self. Inherited responsibility, taking items from downsizing friends or family. Abundance mindset hangover, stockpiling from earlier, less secure times. Martha discovered her primary trigger was saying yes to items friends were discarding. She'd become the designated keeper in her social circle. She also realized she was still shopping for her former entertaining lifestyle despite rarely hosting large gatherings anymore. Second, create personalized threshold questions tailored to your specific triggers. Rather than generic questions like, "Do I need this?" Martha developed pointed questions that addressed her unique patterns. Am I accepting this out of obligation or genuine desire? Does this support my actual lifestyle today, not my former one? If I say yes to storing this item, what am I saying no to in terms of space and freedom? Third, practice the 48-hour pause, the most powerful tool in the protocol. For any non-essential item considering entering your home, implement the mandatory 48-hour reflection period. Martha created a dedicated consideration shelf near her entrance for this purpose. When Martha mastered her thresholds, something remarkable happened. Not only did her home stay decluttered, but her purchasing patterns changed completely. She became intentional rather than reactive and found herself surrounded only by items that truly supported her current life. The freedom this created went far beyond physical space. Martha reported feeling mental clarity and emotional lightness she hadn't experienced in decades. What are your main clutter triggers? Are you still acquiring items for a past version of yourself? Share your insights in the comments. Awareness is the first step to change. Martha's transformation. 6 months after implementing these 4 secrets, Martha's transformation was nothing short of remarkable. Her home, once filled with narrow pathways and inaccessible rooms, is now open and welcoming. She hosts weekly watercolor sessions with friends in her former spare room, now a beautiful studio with natural light streaming in through windows that were once blocked by boxes. The dining room table that hadn't seen a family meal in years now regularly hosts her grandchildren for Sunday dinners. She finds these gatherings more meaningful because the conversations aren't overshadowed by surrounding clutter. Most importantly, Martha's relationship with her possessions has fundamentally changed. I used to think letting go meant losing my past, she told me recently. But now I understand that curating my belongings actually helps me honor what matters most. She no longer feels weighed down by maintenance, cleaning, organizing, and the mental burden of excess. Instead, at 73, she's experiencing a renewed sense of possibility. Physically, the transformation has been equally significant. With clear pathways and organized spaces, Martha's risk of falling has decreased dramatically. She moves through her home with confidence rather than caution. The professional organizers she'd hired previously were astonished when they saw photos of her transformed space. "You accomplished more in 3 weekends than we did in 6 months, one admitted. That's the power of addressing the psychology behind the clutter rather than just the clutter itself. It's not about better storage containers or organizing systems. It's about better decision-making processes that align your space with who you are now and who you want to be in your next chapter. If Martha's story resonated with you, I want you to know that this transformation is absolutely possible in your home too. These 4 secrets, the future self method, the legacy timeline technique, the emotional anchoring system, and the threshold mastery protocol, can change not just your space but your entire relationship with your possessions. If this video helped you see your clutter situation differently, please hit that like button and share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Until next time, remember, your home should serve the life you want today, not the life you lived yesterday. This is James from Elders Wise Insight, wishing you peace in your space and joy in your journey.